Welcome to Bold Thinking, entrepreneurial stories honestly told. In a world full of chaos, this is a podcast about the people making positive change in the world. Today I'm joined by Andrew Tullie, owner of Soper of Lincoln, a BMW mini retailer located in central England. Auto racing fans will recognise the name of Andrew's business because in 2014 he bought it from Steve Soper, the English racing driver who made his name in the 80s and 90s. So welcome to Andrew. Thank you for joining us. It's great to have you today.
Hi, thank you. Nice to see you, Julia.
So tell us a little bit about your career and what you do, because, we know about Soper isn't your only business, is it?
No, so a little bit about me. I left school, went to college, left college, didn't quite know where I was going in life, what I wanted to do. My father was in the motor trade and advised me against it. So I thought, well, I'll do that then. And essentially, I, at 19, 20 years old, began as a trainee in a Ford dealership in Bradford, where I'm from, and gradually was given the opportunity to work my way through the department, which was great, and ended up being a sales manager, then moved across into a BMW garage in Leeds at the time. And after having a few years there, was afforded the opportunity to work at the manufacturer BMW Financial Services and BMW UK, which was great. But I think for me, the burning desire was to be back on the other side of the fence, and began working for Soper of Lincoln, a BMW dealer at the time, owned by, as you said, Steve Soper. 5-6 years after that, I did an MBO and bought the business from Steve, who was a great business partner and a very good friend. I also have another organization called Digital Vehicle Solutions, which is an IT company for the motor trade. And it's really aimed at customers who just want to pay as you go rather than have the full dealership experience. We've got a smart and a renovation centre, which we're doing with paintwork and vehicle detailing. And also, aside from BMW Mini, we've got a used car centre over in Lincoln. So the business is evolving massively, really, and continues to evolve.
Wow.
This year.
That's fascinating. In reading the other day in the paper, there was 26,000 new businesses set up in 2020. So with all your experiences, what skills do you need to be an entrepreneur? I mean, that's, incredibly entrepreneurial journey you've had so far and setting up multiple businesses.
I think for me, Julia, it's you have to have that freedom of thought. You have to have some ideas. You have to have the bravery. You have to have the courage of your conviction, and almost be prepared to have a go. It's very easy, as I found in previous roles, to be sort of just pigeonholed and go down this railway track of doing a job, and you get there at 8 o'clock and you go home at 6 o'clock, and you process and you do tasks and you do them well. But when I sort of came to Soper and managed to sort of flourish there, you always get I personally found I got the confidence with some ideas to get involved in other things, and sometimes they fail and sometimes they work. And I think the secret for me was to really understand how this business worked. And a word I've used quite a lot, and I admire in people who are inquisitive. And that might be a technician, for example. A good technician of a vehicle, I think, is an inquisitive one who really wants to understand that next little bit, and doesn't take yes or no for an answer, just really wants to understand. So maybe inquisitive is a good word, and prepared to fail, prepared to have a go. And I think that's probably what I've learned, really. One area we're morphing into, there's a couple of areas, is looking at doing a storage centre. I think storage is a big business. We need lots of space around us. But also, if we store vehicles, that might lead opportunities for the restoration centre. So it's just an area we're exploring at the minute. And then also electrification over the next few years is, how does that change the landscape of our dealership and the services we provide to consumers? That's a big one at the moment. So lots of things really bubbling.
Yeah. So a couple of things around that's really fascinating is, when you talk about freedom of thought, what do you mean by that? Is that time to think, or, what does freedom of thought mean?
I think for me, I mean, I'm either lucky or unlucky. I drive an hour to work every day. So that's either a blessing or a pitfall. And it does give me time to start to think about ideas, think of things, and then you meet people, you know people, and it just spurs creativity. And for me, I just bounce off people and grab ideas, and you think, what could be done? Who do you know? And I think that gives me the freedom of thought, really.
I love that. So, and one of the things, interviewing and talking to a lot of entrepreneurs over in my lifetime, and certainly doing these podcasts, is this perception, and I want to test if it's true or not true, that if you're an entrepreneur, you have to work 24/7, because that sometimes puts people off. The amount of energy and effort and thousands of steps and things you have to do. Is that true, would you say?
I think you have to work. I think you have to think 24/7. I find it very difficult not to be thinking. And what I've learned in this lockdown period, particularly latterly, is we've less to do in the dealership, although we're very busy. So you find yourself with downtime, and it's something that I've not really been used to. So that's been an interesting challenge. But I think generally the people I sort of talk to, work around, and the entrepreneurs of this world, I think they're thinking all the time, even when they're not thinking, they're thinking. And they grab a little idea or an initiative and see if you can run with it. And there must be thousands of ones we've thought of and failed, and thousands of little quick wins on the way. BMW have been really supportive. They embrace bold thinking, in my opinion. They've twice had what they call the innovation fund, where they supported motor trades in their network to come up with ideas that will change the platform, change the game. And we were lucky. I was lucky twice to have achieved success in that. A few years ago, once was to do with a service product, which was quick and simple, but an opportunity for more revenue. But more latterly, we've been given some funding to really digitize the after-sales landscape, which has never been done, and we're quite close to the end of that. And that will really change how we operate and how we manage our service centres. We see maybe 50 customers a day for servicing and warranty work on cars. Other dealers might see 100 a day, but it's a very, very old-fashioned process channel, is that, and we're trying to digitize that and speed it up and offer customer more agility in the process. So I'm really excited about that one, and we're working with a company in Leeds who've really brought this on for us. So we're probably about 4 weeks away from that. But that's going to be a game changer for us, I firmly believe.
That's fascinating. So, obviously a lot of businesses, struggled last year for various reasons, and a lot were incredibly successful. You had to close down your dealership over the last year. Tell us about what you did to help the business thrive during that period.
Well, I remember the day very well. It was the 24th or 5th of March, and I never quite knew if the world was about to come crashing down on me or whether we were going to survive. So we shut the business, and we tried to understand what the word furlough actually meant, and then we furloughed everybody. So that word is just now in the Oxford Dictionary. So, and we went from 100 employees working, or 105 employees working, down to probably 4, excluding myself. And 2 of them were my accountants, and the other 2 people was one heading up sales and one heading up after sales, which was really about work from home and answer the phone, and let's see where we go. So we went into April, and everything sort of climatized. The government support gave us a comfort blanket, and other financial aspects came into play, where we were kind of less edgy about where it was all heading. And what I sort of found was that the online car retail experience was gathering momentum. And I sat there thinking, well, I'm a franchise dealer representing 2 fabulous English and German brands. Where's this heading? There's the big multinationals that are now going to sell cars to customers online, deliver them from home, never have a relationship with them. Where do I fit in all of this? And I very quickly came up with the conclusion that I have to be almost all things to all people. I have to be able to cater for that market, but also cater for the market that still wants to walk through the doors post-COVID, still wants to be spoken to by a person, still wants to experience product and brand. But what I did was I was fortunate enough to have a little bit of space, and the brief was, how do I get the world's best photography studio for used cars? So how do I present my vehicles in the best way I can possibly present them? And again, through people I knew, through BMW, through connections, you end up speaking to some very clever people who are in this area. And 6 months on, we ended up with that, and it was quite a heavy investment. It was a bit unnerving in the current climate, but I think single-handedly one of the best things we ever did last year. And it's what it's actually done. It's changed how we present product. It's attracted different customers and more customers, but it's also changed our processes in the dealership, which I never really understood until afterwards. So we've really sort of moved that on again. So I'm absolutely delighted with that, and that's an area that we have not stopped using in the 6 months we've been live. 8 hours a day that the studio's in use for vehicles. So that was probably would never have happened without the pandemic, without the crisis.
And that's basically photographing secondhand cars and encouraging people to buy them online.
Yeah, it's that, but a bit more than that. It meant we could present cars consistently, quickly, in a uniform fashion, and you kind of look at it and you think that's what people expect. I believe customers now want to do all their research and groundwork online. 80% of people are doing a lot of research before they're even speaking to us. Quite often they know more about the products than sometimes some of my team do, because they've got time to do that. And to be out there without the best imagery and the best shot window, in hindsight, looks madness, really. So delighted with that investment. Very difficult to get a measure of return, and it's not really about a measure of return for me. It's about, if that's the business we're in and we've got to do the best we can, then it works. It's not about measuring it, and I'm absolutely delighted with it. And the people who've come along with me with the project have really bought into it. And that's sometimes a difficulty when you have innovation and ideas and bold thinking. It's who you bring with you on the journey, and how they support it and how they believe in it.
I think I absolutely agree with you. So, when you look at it based on the last year, is there any going back? Is there any sort of things that when we come out of the COVID, that the people start getting back to their lives, as it inexplicably changed forever? Is there any going back?
I'm not sure there's any going back, Julia. What it's really reinforced to me is there is a place. Not everything in the world is digital. There is a place for shops. There is a place for stores. There is a place for product presentation. The people do like to deal with people. They like to see faces behind the screen, and I think it's sort of calibrating itself a little bit. I think there was a feeling that we're all going to go one way, then we're all going to go another way. But I think it's leveling out in the market, and there's been some really good learnings from this crisis. If we just get back on an even keel and have the confidence that we can see where the business is going to be in 6, 9, 12, 24 months, with reasonably good visibility of that, I think it's going to be okay.
So just sort of like, thinking about your customers, you talk a lot about your customers and putting them at the heart of your business model. What changes have you seen in customers over the past year?
What I've gained from it, or what we've gained from it, is that people are buying different products. They've got the confidence to buy different products. Certainly buying less diesels, and there's a confidence back in petrol engines, and the hybrid thing is gathering momentum, but massively supported by tax incentives. But it's surprising we're selling a lot more big engine cars than we ever used to do. So I think that some people just enjoy that and they don't feel guilty about it. Maybe they're happy because they're not doing as many miles, so they can justify it in their own world. Not so sure. I'd say online car shopping's moved into another gear, as we talked about, but so has research. People have had more time to research, servicing cars, product. The challenge for us is we've got to be all things to all people.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's the same for anybody really. And whether you're digitally online, whether it's the appeal of the brand when somebody drives past or walks through, you've just got to be all things to all people.
Yeah.
And your team have as well.
So, I mean, there's been a lot of talk, honestly, at the moment around online and digital and all that sort of thing. But, how do you see the dealership experience changing, from now on? Is there a need for it? Is there use for it? How does it work? Is it going to go away? Is it going to get better? Is it going to improve? How do you see that changing?
I personally think there's definitely a need for it. We do rely on, or I certainly rely on, the input from the manufacturers. The manufacturers have the wherewithal, the ability to develop the best systems in the world. They have the infrastructure, they have the resource to develop it. If there's 140 or 150 BMW or Mini sites just doing their own brand experience, it would be probably carnage, and there wouldn't be the same brand. So sometimes you find it difficult to manage, but actually the delivery of the brand and what it looks like to the consumer, it's important that we get that guidance from the manufacturer partners. There is definitely a need for the showrooms. There is definitely a need for an experience. There's definitely a need for product knowledge. You can't do everything online, and I think it's just. I just think 80% of people still want to come here, and we're finding that now. Our showrooms are shut currently. It's click and collect, and that doesn't offer a brilliant experience. But people aren't technically allowed in the showroom to browse for a car, but they can buy one online. So they're happier to do that with a used vehicle. They're less happy to do it with a brand new one unless they've had the same car before, is what we're finding. So if you're wanting a change, you really need the experience to come and look and feel and drive and be comfortable with who you're transacting with, and that's what we're finding. But certainly the phones have been constantly ringing, and we're getting as many inquiries as we ever used to do, but just having to handle them a little bit differently, really.
And do you feel like there's a real sort of BMW Mini community? I remember talking to you last year, and you're a real champion of getting people together and events, and really entrepreneurial in how you deal with your customers. Can you see that going back and working again?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that'll change, Julie. You get massive fans of the product and the brand, and they absolutely love it. And some brands are better than others. But I think that'll go back. We have some very loyal people who keep coming and enjoy coming to see us, enjoy just coming in the doors and being part of it. And then equally, you have people that buy a car and will only ever buy it because it's a little bit cheaper than up the road, but you don't really end up with that relationship. It's it's very, very different sometimes. But people are buying cars, and I think what I feel is that people who purchase vehicles, it's still a big part of their world. It's almost, for a lot of people, they want to enjoy the whole. It's a big purchase. What can I spend my money on? Why would I buy that? And that whole journey of getting to that point when it has to be a this product or that product or the next product. I think a lot of people quite enjoy that, because it's what generates nice pub talk when we can get back to the pub. It's like, I bought this product because look at it, this is what it does for me, and I'm really proud that I've bought it. And to get to that point, you've got to have done some homework and some research, and that's what I think we're finding. 90% of people have a car on a contract. They're still coming to an end. So someone needs to have that conversation with those people and explore the options that are available for them, and it keeps people in a cycle.
Obviously, Andrew, you work very closely and you've got great relationships with BMW and Mini. What do you think, dealers and brands, businesses need? What do you need from those sort of brands today to help you with your business?
Product, clearly, product and marketing. They need to support their network, and we need to support their brand. Is really, I feel, how it has to work. A manufacturer is no good without a strong network, but equally, a network is not much use without a strong brand. And we're we're blessed with, I think, one of the best brands out there, and I would say that, but I firmly do believe that. But their marketing needs to be strong, needs to be bold. Their product offering needs to be strong, and just we need to support that. And we are very good at it. They're very good at the national picture. We need to be champions at our local marketing and our local influence and our community spirit. We do very well out of. We got involved with Lincoln City Football Club. Fabulous, really, to be part of that, and we have a great relationship with them. And it's nice. I mean, I'm not from Lincoln, but it's nice to feel part of doing something in the town. So, so yeah, it's an interesting part of it.
And I love the idea as well that, you work really closely with BMW, and actually they came to you and said, what's your ideas? And we find in businesses that, sometimes we speak to big brands and big businesses, and we'll say, like, what's your ideas, what your challenges for next year? And, haven't really got enough. Whereas it feels to me that, you're both giving each other ideas. And if a business has got lots of ideas, and if they fail or they're successful, what they are doing is testing and trialing. And as we know, people at Amazon that are massively winning in the marketplace, they're just doing hundreds and hundreds of those a year. So you're really giving each other ideas, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah, that we have. If we're lucky, we form part of some forums. So I've been on a franchise board with BMW, and I've been on a number of forums, which might be corporate sales, might be after sales, might be mini, and that's a real knowledge sharing forum to be part of. And they come up with what their ideas and thinking is. Some of it's from Germany, some of it's from within the UK market, some of it's from the network. And when you get all these ideas in the room and you put some real world on it, what truly happening out in the marketplace, you come up with some great innovations. And I've got to say, they are very supportive, and I'm a testimony to that one.
Yeah, I love that. So how optimistic are you at the moment? What's going to take you and drive into and help you to thrive in the future? I think that's a question that everybody's thinking at the moment of, where do you think this is going to end and how are we going to move forward?
Well, where do I think it's going to end? I think it's going to be with us for possibly ever, in some way, shape or form. I think this third lockdown, or second or third lockdown that we're in, feels nothing like the first lockdown. And we haven't got the fear of the unknown and what's around the corner. I think what we can see is a corner, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it keeps getting a little bit brighter. But I think it's allowed us to really challenge what we do. Will there be motor traders in the future? 100% they will. Will there be big brands? Of course there will. Will the experience evolve? Yes. How? Not sure. But between a dealership, a retailer, and a manufacturer partner with big strength, I think it'd be groundbreaking how it changes. But it still involves people, and they're the key ingredient in all of this. Everything we do involves people and good people. And, I think I've got 100 fabulous people who work for us. And they tend to come and evolve with us. There's freedom to spread your wings and have a go at something. And so I think the motor trade will evolve. I don't think it'll go away from customers wanting to visit, be on site, touch and feel the product. So I'm really optimistic about it. We have to look at new services. Electrification's a big thing. It's do you turn into a fuel station? Do you charge people's cars up? What does that look like? We're in conversation with Western Power because we haven't got enough power to do what I think we might need to do in the future. So that becomes a big capital investment, and you've got to work out what do people really want? And I'm not sure they actually know yet. So that's our next part of our journey. And does that mean the services we offer people sort of evolves? Probably it does. Probably it does.
Feels like it leaves a lot of room for entrepreneurial thinking and bold thinking in the future, for sure, doesn't it?
No, definitely. Definitely. We've done lots of bits and pieces on the travels, which I would say were quite bold. We've done a lot around energy saving, so we've cut our energy by. This was an initiative by BMW where they wanted a retailer that had a current site to say, how could you really cut your energy? And with some investment and support from them, we got that down by 67%. And that was something that wasn't even on my radar. And we've done the same with water. We've done it with energy. And then we moved on to paper. Motor Trade historically loves paper, loves documents, it loves audits, it loves signatures, it loves everything. So we're on the final journey of digitizing nearly everything we do, which coincided with a bit of GDPR, if I'm honest. But actually, that's been a journey, and that changes your processes, and that changes your infrastructure, and changes all the dead time you have hunting around for bits and pieces. And that's been a 2-year project, which we're nearly through. And so I think there's ways to be efficient. There's ways to be creative. There's embracing what's out there that's available on the shelf from your manufacturer partners and other partners we deal with as well. And what services can we really offer people who want to come to our facility and be part of our family, if you like.
I love it. I love your entrepreneurial thinking, Andrew, and it feels really bold and determined. And, despite everything we've been through, clearly you've had your difficult times, but you're determined to thrive, and you've got a resilience, which I think is a good story for people to hear.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's I think once the glass has to be half full, doesn't it? Full of opportunity, and if you have great people and great products and support in your industry, you've every reason to be optimistic, really. The world will not stop. It'll just change. And it is changing around us. And I want to be part of whatever the new bit looks like and how it evolves. And if there's any influencing on the way, then great. We'll do it.
No, brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us, Andrew. It's really fascinating to hear your story. Thank you everyone for listening to Bold Thinking, Entrepreneurial Stories Honestly Told. If this episode has got you thinking, share your comments on LinkedIn, Twitter or Instagram. Links are on our show notes. Or if you want to contact us at hello@thehonestbrand.com. Join me next time to hear from someone else who's making positive change in the world. Thanks, Andrew. That's really fascinating. It's brilliant.
Thank you.